Hey everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse. And guys, I just got done with episode 7 of She-Hulk. This episode was called The Retreat. And this episode, which again, when I saw, for starters, I've been wondering when we were going to be getting this, Daredevil episode. And I keep having to remind myself that, before, I knew that even Daredevil was going to be in the show, I was excited for the show. And Daredevil is just a treat we just so happen to have. We have to remember that it is She-Hulk's show. And people forget that. And a lot of the people have been getting very antsy, including myself, about, hey, when are we getting Daredevil? I thought when we got that sneak peek of the drip broker, when he had put the lid on Matt's on Daredevil's helmet that said pickup, we all kind of assumed it would be in the next episode that Daredevil would come and we'd have that episode, and then we didn't. And then ever since then we've been kind of literally on the edge of our seat waiting for the episode, and also waiting impatiently. But I have to remind myself, and we have to remind ourselves that it is Jen in the She-Hulk show. It is the She-Hulk show. It just so happens that we get to have the benefit of seeing Daredevil in the show and making a cameo. So at the end of the day, we kind of just need to wait until the episode comes. And again, a lot of people have been very impatient. I'm kind of still trying to be patient, and I'll be like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. When is Matt gonna be here? But I gotta say, when I saw the clip for today's episode where, Jen was with Emil and, and they were kind of at Blonsky's retreat, and, and we kind of get more an understanding of outside the clip in this episode why she is there at Emil's retreat and stuff. And, we end up running into Man-Bull and Alagala, that's his name. And, he's a swashbuckler and stuff like that. Meaning that he's a professional swordsman, or I think that's what it means. And, we just, right away, I was kind of like, this episode looks goofy. I'm not sure if I'm even going to like this episode. I feel like this episode kind of looks dumb, especially with the CGI. When Man-Bull jumped in the frame, I kind of thought it looked kind of a little bit wonky. And I mean, that's my only complaint about the show, is I thought that the CGI on that one clip kind of looked wonky. Other than, I haven't really complained about the CGI in general in the show. It's just that one scene kind of looked wonky in the clip. But, I was I'm not excited for this. I was I was kind of oh my god, I am wondering I am kind of wondering who our main villain is. I am kind of wondering when we're going to get Daredevil. And I was kind of worried that, I think we are going to get him probably in episode 9, because I feel like they're really going to try to really, make us wait until episode 9, because, I mean, at the end of the day, it is She-Hulk show. So, of course, they would make us wait, because clearly that's not, it's not, that's the end premise. That's how they end the show, him getting involved somehow. So it's we just have to wait and be patient. But going into this episode, again, like I said, I wasn't excited. But I just got done watching the episode, and it actually surprised me a lot. We get more. This is really a really character-driven episode. This is a lot of character development happening in this episode of pretty much of Jen's character in general, and also She-Hulk. And Jen accepting, herself, but also accepting She-Hulk at the same time. And, I think this all goes and leads into, Matt having that conversation with Jen, saying, that you can do good, with the law, you can use the law to help people as Jen, but when the law fails, you can go out and be She-Hulk and help people. I think we're really leading to that moment, which again, I feel like that would be a really great finale. So I'm loving where the story is going, because every episode I think it might be oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to like this episode by a clip. It always ends up surprising me. And again, I've been loving this show, but I kind of got impatient and just expected, like everybody else, that we would be getting Daredevil in the next episode. And I've kind of been in a weird position where it's okay, I've been waiting for the episode since that moment. We thought we were going to get them, but we didn't. And then, all these other 2 episodes, I'm oh, I probably won't like them by the clip. And they've kind of been oh, it's kind of been a disappointment for me not to know that not seeing that Daredevil would be in that exact episode that I would assume that we were going to get. And they've been surprising me, being no, they're just good episodes with good storytelling. Hence the wedding episode and this episode. So, to start off this episode, we see Jen, having a great time with Josh, you know what I mean? Ever since Josh had an interest in Jen at, her friend's, bridal shower. So it's kind of that was really cool to see, the fact that we think that this Josh dude is into Jen. But my sister, Bethany, called it, where she's I think Josh is somebody that wants Jen's, blood. And I was like, I totally see that too. I was like, I'm hoping, he likes her. But as we all know, Jen has not had good luck when it comes to dudes. Either dudes like her when she's just She-Hulk and they don't like her when she's Jen. And this so happens that this dude that, was at her friend's, bridal shower just so happened to have, interest in her, even though it's like, I don't see how anybody couldn't, because Jen is such a nice person, and she's a catch. Anybody would be lucky to be dating her. And it's kind of like, I was like, I do think, yeah, this dude kind of like has interest in Jen in a weird way, and it's just at the wrong time and stuff like that, of everything that's been going on, and things are too good right now, and something has to happen for the character, for the story to spice things up to get to some big moment of who the villain is, and why people want her blood, and who's behind who's the person behind that wants her blood. So, we get a lot of like them going on dates and stuff. They end up sleeping together, and then she ends up not getting a text back after, they sleep together, and he's not there in bed with her when she wakes up. He's just gone. And right away I said, to my sister, when we saw the dates that they were going on, he's gonna like get her blood. Like once they sleep together, he's there. Someone hired him, or he's a part of some group to get close to Jen, because they know that they couldn't get the blood with when she was in She-Hulk form. They knew that someone had to get close to her, so that way they could get the blood while she's just in Jen form. And what other way, when him sleeping with her and she's asleep, he ends up taking her blood. And I knew it right away, right? When they were about to sleep together, I was like, he took her blood, and he's not going to respond, because he completed his mission. And I was like, that's just really messed up that this dude pretended to like her and ends up stealing her blood, and then, and kind of just, doesn't, just doesn't text her back or anything like that, because he had an agenda from whoever, hired him. So that was just really upsetting to see Jen, like, not get any text back, and she was just wondering, like, for a couple of days, because it was on Thursday to Sunday, where she just got no text back from him after, they slept together, and she was sending him, kind of like, she didn't really know, like, what to send him, so she was kind of sending awkward texts, and she was kind of on edge, and she couldn't focus on her, she meant a happy text, but it was also kind of like an awkward text on the fact of, like, when she gets to the retreat, they're kind of like, oh, you sent that, blah, 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 after you guys, slept together and stuff like that. So it's kind of, in a way, it's like, it's awkward from her position, and the fact that she's not getting any texts, and she's sending all these texts out, kind of like he's still interested, or kind of like, her trying to figure out what's going on. That she's kind of like trying to figure this out and see where they stand, essentially, but he just doesn't answer. And then that's when, essentially she gets a call on Sunday, and mind you, he just hasn't texted her ever since Thursday, after they slept together, that, that just did not keep up with her after that happened. And right away I knew that he was just there to get close to her, to get her blood. And, she gets a call from Emil Blonsky's parole officer, pretty much telling Jen, like, I need you to come with me. I need someone strong enough, just because, Emil's, dampener, like, I guess glitched out, and I'm not quite sure if he's going to be, Abomination right now. I need some protection. Are you busy I know it's your day off on Sunday, but are you busy? And it's sad because Jen's not busy. All she's doing is just, worried on the fact of, like, she hasn't, gotten any text back from that guy, from Josh. And, that's just really upsetting that, she was sending out all these texts, and she doesn't really know what headspace that he's in, what she did wrong and stuff like that. She just isn't sure. And that was really upsetting that, she's not busy on this Sunday. She's just at home and worrying about what's going on with Josh and what she did, what did she did that was wrong. And, when she goes, of course, she gets, she, of course, has to be in, She-Hulk form, and she just really doesn't want to be there, essentially, but she knows that she has to be there because, the dude was worried about getting, killed if Emil, if he was going to be, resistant on, if he did, ruin his bracelet on purpose, his dampener, that, dang. And that was Best Cats on the soundbar. But I was about to say, it's crazy because, if he was going to, like, we don't know from the headspace of, like, everybody assumes that Emil Blonsky is going to be resistant on the fact that he does have the dampener on, and that's why they just thought, if he's going to be resistant and, Abomination's there and is going to want to transform back into Emil and fix the dampener, that, I need you to come with me to protect me. And, they go, and she's just standing there watching the dude, Emil's parole officer pretty much check the bracelet. And he's like, he's like, oh, I think it went all, out of sync because I was near my chicken coop and, the electric fence, and it ended up going off or whatever. And he's like, oh, well, just stay away from there so I don't have to come back and do this again. And I'm kind of like, is that really the first time this has happened? Because I think she said, like, oh, so I don't have to come back for the whatever time to help you do this or whatever. Meaning that I don't know if it was the chicken coop, because I didn't see any electric fence. I'm thinking he did that on purpose. Either A, because he's been going out and maybe he does, and he doesn't want to stick to the agreement of not going into Abomination form, because we end up seeing a TV spot where he eventually does go into Abomination form. So I'm thinking that, he has been faking the whole, the chicken coop set off my, my dampener, and he actually does, maybe he does that on purpose. Maybe it was the chicken coop and he does that on purpose because he wants to go into Abomination form, because he's probably thinking, why am I having a restraint on me not being able to go into Abomination when I can control it? That's not fair, because, again, Bruce, he didn't get put away in prison, or the Hulk didn't get put away in prison for all the stuff he did or whatever, and, and Bruce got to still go into the Hulk form when he wanted to and stuff like that, and how come I can't go into my Abomination form? You know what I mean? But yeah, he could still do all those bad things, be a hero, and he doesn't get to having a dampener on him that makes him not go into Hulk form. He might feel that way personally, but he's thinking, if I do this, it's just by accident when, it glitched out from my chicken coop, I can use that as an excuse for whatever I'm actually turning into Abomination for, behind people's back. So I'm excited to see why is he turning into Abomination, because we can see from the TV spot he clearly is. I'm not quite sure for what reason. And also, I'm thinking, by this episode, I feel like it even proves to me more that Emil Blonsky is not bad anymore. I don't know if I don't know if this is him just playing with Jen or but I'm thinking now, I feel like I have a clear, view of that, the fact that I don't think he's playing Jen at all. I think he actually is, reformed. I do think that he's no longer this, raging monster of, Abomination, and just, Emil Blonsky not being a good person. I think he literally has reformed when he was in that maximum security prison, and he's just a good guy now, and he's just at his retreat helping people, get along, helping people accept themselves and stuff like that, which is really cool to see Emil Blonsky's character be that way. And I'm kind of hoping that this isn't an act, because it would just upset me, because I think this is really good character development for his character and who his character was. So I hope this isn't like a ploy to be like, oh yeah, I'm this nice dude, but it turns out I'm starting up a group or whatever, or it turns out that I'm gonna get recruited by the Thunderbolts. I kind of hope he's not recruited, and I kind of hope he just gets to be a dude that wants to be alone on his land and have his retreat. That to help people. I kind of hope it stays that way, but I don't think it is. Still, kind of. I feel like, I wouldn't be shocked if we got that in the last episode, whether it be the end credit where it's like he gets recruited by Valentina saying, you want to do good like the Hulk? Join my team. I feel like it's bound to happen. I understand they showed us the Thunderbolts, lineup of who's going to be in the Thunderbolts, even though I think that's a shit lineup and I wasn't happy about that lineup. Bucky and Yelena being on that team makes no sense. And quite honestly, I'm not excited. It's going to take a lot to excite me for that. Hopefully when the trailer comes out, it'll pique my interest. But I got to say, I hate that team lineup. I'm not happy. Some people I knew were going to be on that lineup, but I was shocked when it was Red Guardian, Yelena, and also Bucky. Mainly, the Yelena and Bucky thing really shocked me. And you guys know why if you guys watch my videos. That just doesn't make sense for those characters to be there. But honestly, though, I'm kind of hoping he just is this good dude, and he has reformed, and he's no longer that killer that we saw in Incredible Hulk. I kind of just hope he's reformed, and he kind of just wants to be on his land, have his retreat, have his friends, help people, and set them on a new path. Like he was on the new path, and he got to himself to be on this new journey, and he's putting people on this reform journey as well. Hence that when Jen comes here, and her car ends up breaking down because Alagala got thrown into Jen's Prius Prime car, which again, that's a lot of advertisement. How many times they said Prius Prime in this one episode. So I thought that was funny. And of course, Manbull threw Alagala into Jen's car and made it so Jen couldn't even leave the retreat. So pretty much, we get this episode where it's like, Emil is trying to like show Jen that, clearly you're going through something, you're attached to your phone. Maybe you should just, see what's going on, you know what I mean? Like, get to that problem of, like, that you're trying to avoid by, you being glued to your phone and you're not telling people what's happening. You're not, and really get to what the real issue is. And I really loved this episode because of that, is that, it's a character growing moment for Jen, and not just Jen, but for She-Hulk as well. And Jen accepting the fact of, like, that, she is a cool person, regardless of everybody wanting just She-Hulk. It's like, no, it's like, Jen is realizing that, I am a good person, and I can like, and She-Hulk isn't just for everybody, and She-Hulk's not the only cool one. I'm really cool too. And you know what I mean? I can't stand, like, she kind of feels like she has to, like, hide in She-Hulk form for people to like her and stuff like that. And that's all people want from her is just She-Hulk. But I like how in this episode, Emil and Manbull and Alegala and also Saracen, which Saracen is a vampire. When we get introduced to the rest of the group, Saracen is a vampire, and I instantly thought of Blade. And also, but he's a vampire, but yeah, he's in a room that has light. So I also kind of thought, like, okay, I was thinking, is he just pretending to be a vampire? But I feel like, I don't know, though. I guess maybe I wouldn't be shocked if they, I don't know. But I don't know if he's an actual vampire or pretending to be a vampire. But either or, I thought instantly the Blade when he said that, when Emil said, oh, he's a vampire or whatever. And also we got, introduced to Wrecker, of course, part of the Wrecking Crew. He ended up being there, and that set Jen off where the point of she hulked up or whatever and pretty much threw Wrecker across the room into stacked chairs. And I love how Manbull's like, she can't be just coming in here throwing people across the room into nicely stacked chairs or whatever. And I thought that was funny because also, we end up getting introduced to Porcupine Man. I just love the people that we got introduced here. It's like Jen found friends, and I loved that. And of course I love Nikki. She's a day one, but I'm not gonna lie, someone pointed out a video that was on TikTok I came across this morning, and I'm gonna play it right here.
Is Jen's friend Nikki Ramos who she says she is? Because check this clip out.
Life. Fine.
You saw what I saw, right? She literally broke the fourth wall, and the longer you stare at this image, the creepier it gets. Also, look at her necklace. Someone on Twitter said flip that upside down and ask her what coven she's from. So it made me think in crazy off-the-wall theory, what if Nikki Ramos is actually a witch and has some connection to Agatha Harkness? Because honestly, we don't know much about her character.
But the fact that Nikki in the last week's episode, when, it was Nikki and it was, what was the other girl's name, Beth? Nikki and
I forget.
The other, Amelia? Or, what was it? I forget. But they were looking at that website and, she said, maybe we should tell Jen. And Nikki looked at the screen and said, oh, fine, whatever, or something like that, or said something. And it kind of makes me think, is Nikki, and also Mallory? Yeah, Mallory's like, we should probably tell Jen. And Nikki looked at the screen and looked back at, the computer screen and said, oh yeah, maybe we should tell Jen, or, you know what I mean? Because, it's, or like, oh no, I think Amelia's like, maybe we shouldn't tell Jen. And then that's when Nikki looks at the screen and says, oh, we have to tell Jen or whatever. And then Mallory's like, that would just make her, on edge. Let's not tell her. But Nikki was all for telling her. And if we look at Nikki's necklace, if you look at it upside down, it's a witch necklace. It's a witch symbol. So people think that she might be connected to Agatha. And maybe Agatha is a part of Agatha's coven, because we know we're getting Coven of Chaos. Coven of Chaos, I think in phase 5? At some point in phase 5. So there's a chance that, Nikki could be playing Jen, too. I'm not quite sure what that's all about, but that is very interesting to me, because she did break the fourth wall, Nikki. She looked at the screen, and that kind of makes me wonder if she knows what's going on. So that was a really kind of shocking moment, because I sent it to my sister, I sent it to my brother, I sent it to my friend Troy, that Nikki could be in on, trying to mess with Jen and in on what Jen's capable of breaking the fourth wall, and she could do it too with her magic capabilities. So, let's keep our eyes open for Nikki and pay attention to Nikki on the fact of like what does Nikki got going on here. Even though I think Nikki's a day one, but when I saw someone point that out, her looking and breaking the fourth wall too, and wanting to tell Jen, kind of putting Jen, I don't know, maybe kind of like in a way stressing out Jen in a way, even though Jen's kind of made it sound like she wasn't worried about these trolls saying that they're going to try to kill her and stuff like that and how they take her blood and stuff. She kind of wasn't fazed by that, but it's kind of like putting Jen, I feel like, it was putting Jen on edge along with Josh not responding. But I just love this episode about everybody coming together at Emil's retreat, trying to, make Jen realize that, Jen is cool. I bet you Jen is awesome just as much as She-Hulk is. Even though people just want She-Hulk, and people don't want you are awesome. And I love that. It's Jen realizing that, yeah, I am awesome just as much as She-Hulk is. And I loved that. I loved how Jen was accepting She-Hulk, you know what I mean? As like, I get to, know that She-Hulk and Jen are awesome. Not one's cooler than the other. And you know what I mean? Because it seemed to be that Jen was more like spending more time with She-Hulk because that's what people wanted to see. That's what people wanted. But it was nice that Emil and Amamble and, what was his name? I always forget. Allegola, and also Saracen, and of course Wrecker. All of them to get together saying Jen is awesome. I bet you if we saw Jen right now, she would be awesome. And I loved when they got Jen to go back in Jen form, and I really did love that how Jen was like I am awesome, and it was kind of like she was admitting to herself, yeah, I am awesome. I need to spend more time with myself. And you know what I mean? I need to realize that I'm just as cool as She-Hulk is. And I need to forget what other people want me to be because this is me. And so is She-Hulk. That's an extension of me. And I loved how she was kind of like accepting that. I really do love this character journey that we're going on with Jen. How initially she didn't want to be She-Hulk. And then that's all anybody wanted. And she felt like she had to be She-Hulk. And she was kind of like forgetting about her being Jen because she realized that no one really wanted Jen. Everybody just wanted She-Hulk, and she felt like that's what she needed to be. But I love it now. She's kind of like accepting them both, realizing I'm both Jen and She-Hulk. This is me, and not one's better than the other. And I loved that message. But also, I really did love the moment when she's like explaining about the Josh dude, how he kind of left her, like ghosted her, and that's what Allegola said. It's like it sounded like he ghosted you. Or whatever, or Allegola didn't say that. I think Wrecker said that, and Wrecker's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want to be rude or whatever, but that's what it sounds like or whatever." And she's like, "Yeah, you're right," and all that stuff. And then that's when she kind of like explains that everybody just wants She-Hulk, no one wants Jen. That's why I've kind of just been ignoring Jen. I haven't been spending time with Jen. I've just been She-Hulk, and you know what I mean. It's kind of like it was really cool that moment of her realizing that I'm both Jen and She-Hulk. We're the best of both worlds. Not one's better than the other. And you know what I mean? It was funny because that's when Allegola said, now Josh is an enemy of this group. Let's go kill him and all that. Let's take him out and stuff. And I love that everybody was it was funny because everybody was kind of like for it. I forget the one person that said, oh, let's not do that. I think it might have been either Emil or Mamble that said, let's not do that actually or whatever. And I loved how the vampire, Saracen said oh, I bet you Jen is great and tasty. And I love it. I think he said I went off the rails. Someone bail me out. That had me literally crying of laughter. It was like, oh, I went off the rails. Someone bail me out. Because it's like, he was making progress. That's what Emil's trying to make, Saracen have progress. And I love that, of not just thinking people as oh, you're my food, but actually connecting with people. I love that. Even though, again, I'm not sure if he's an actual vampire or not, but I love how we're kind of opening the door of oh, Blade. Every time we hear a vampire, and we're waiting for the moment for vampires to actually be here, and unless that's an actual vampire or not, it's we think Blade. And also, apparently, his story is that his dad kind of left him or whatever, so it's kind of interesting to me is okay, what's the story there? Who, if he is a vampire, who is your dad and stuff like that. It's just, I'm excited to see where all this is going, and we're getting all these different creatures, and to have that man bull, it was an experiment and stuff like that, and how I guess Allegola has the sword can make lightning and stuff, these different cool capabilities and these different creatures that we're having just makes things fun for me. It makes me wonder, okay, the possibilities, oh, are they from Asgard? Oh, there's experiments that are happening, still going on still. I love these different aspects of how people are getting these abilities, and it's just really, really cool. And so many people, actually, I'll get to that probably towards the end. But I just love how they kind of Jen realizes that accepts herself of I am just as great as She-Hulk. Not one's better than the other. And I love how she's about to go off, and everybody makes her kind of like a card saying that you are great from the gang, and he's like, oh, I need you to specify to my parole officer that gang, it's not gang meaning that we were gonna attack you, it's gang meaning your friends and stuff like that. I thought that was funny. They just want to clarify gang does not mean some people that want to hurt you, they're trying to go come after you. I just wanted to specify that, and he's like, I just wanted to make that clear. I love how Emil has really changed. I don't want them to make it be like, oh, he was playing everybody. You know what I mean? He's still a bad dude, and he gets recruited by, Valentina. I don't want that. I would rather have, if anything, Valentina kind of manipulate him. I could see that. Saying, oh, you want to be a hero like Bruce? Join my team. I think that would happen where she manipulates him, thinking he's doing stuff that's good, but actually they're doing stuff that's bad. That would make more sense to me than him just be like, oh, I played everybody. Oh, you know what I mean? I'm gonna get recruited and be on this team and be a villain again. No. If anything, I would prefer her tricking him, saying you want to be a hero. You want people to look at you like they look at the Hulk. Join my team. You could do good. This is our Avengers team. I prefer that, her manipulating, because she's such a good manipulator, Valentina, and that would make more sense to me than him just be like, I played everybody. I'm a villain still. But because he's made so much character growth, I would just hate for them to regress all that character, or regress the character growth and the character arc that they gave Emil Blonsky and how much he's changed in his reforming. So I don't know. Other than that, this was a really great episode. I really did enjoy this episode. And also us going 3 days earlier, where it turns out Josh did take, Jen's blood when she was sleeping. And I said that. I said once he's going to take her blood right there, and he's never going to contact her again after, he got her blood. Dude's a piece of shit. And he texted somebody.
The Hulk King.
In the Hulk King, I guess that's what it said. Which makes me wonder, okay, the Hulk King, which makes me even go more into the leader, I'm thinking. Still more into that. Because I can't imagine anybody else. Unless Hulk King could be... I don't want it to be Emil Blonsky where, again, it's like, oh, I'm a villain. I did all this to get your blood. No. I want it to be, again, it makes me think that... Because that's I'm hoping it's not, where it's like, oh, Hulk King, oh, it's Abomination. I'm hoping that this makes me more think it's the leader. And I think it is him. Because, again, we are getting the leader in Captain America 4. And I'm thinking we need to start seeing him do stuff now that sets up Captain America 4. And I think what else better than a Hulk show of something that he was originally in. He was in The Incredible Hulk. What other better to set up his arc again and see where he's been than the She-Hulk show, honestly. It makes the most sense because we had Hulk and we had She-Hulk. And again, he made his first debut in The Incredible Hulk. So it makes sense that he would come back in the show and then we would set up where his character is going and set up where his character is what he's trying to achieve and his villainous acts and stuff going into Captain America 4. So I'm excited to see, one, who's behind everything. Two, my theory is that the reason that Matt comes in, not only to get his costume from the Drip Broker, but he's going in to help Jen get her blood back. I said that in one of my spoiler reviews, or it was in my pre-show lives. I said that Matt is going to be helping her get her blood back. And I even said that when Josh, because I was going on what Bethany said, that I think Josh is actually there to get, her blood. I said in my pre-show, I think I said, Josh is going to take her blood, and then Matt's going to help Jen get it back. And that's when Matt's going to give Jen the speech of saying, you can do good. Because when Jen finds out that he was only interested in her and only slept with her to get her blood, she's going to be down in the dumps. And I think that's when Matt's going to give her that pep talk and be like, you can do great things as Jen with the law. But you can also, when the law fails, you can do great things as She-Hulk. And that's something not everybody gets to do and stuff like that. So I think he's going to really give her some, a motivational speech. Because that's what Matt does at the end of the day. He's very, dude's awesome. You know what I mean? He knows how to break it to people when things need to be said. And Matt is just so, wise and knowledgeable. And I'm excited to see what he has to say. Again, I'm excited to see MCU's portrayal of how they want to, for their Daredevil and their Matt Murdock. I'm excited to see more of that. I'm so excited for that episode. I think it's going to be awesome. And not only that, that Josh dude and whoever he's working for fucked with the wrong person, because Jen is going to kick their ass. And now that Jen has some help also from Matt, or hell, if she meets Daredevil first, has some help from Daredevil, they're going to kick their ass, and it's going to be awesome. But I also think that, I don't know. I mean, we'll have yet to see if Daredevil helps Jen do that or not, because I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm excited. I can't wait. We only have 2 more episodes left, 8 and 9. I think 8 is going to be, it might be the episode where we see Matt. But I'm really done theorizing at this point. I think I'm just going to wait. Whenever we get it, we get it. Again, I just want to let everybody know out there, I am kind of where you guys are at, but not as impatient as you guys were. Like, I see a lot of you guys on YouTube and TikTok pretty much saying, I'm done with She-Hulk because we haven't gotten Matt Murdock after that. After, the drip broker with his helmet saying pick up. A lot of you guys said you were done. You guys couldn't stand the show anymore because then that next episode you didn't show up. But it's kind of like, I was a little annoyed, and when I saw the clips, I was kind of disappointed. Like, oh, I don't see him in this clip for this next episode. He's not in it. And I was kind of upset a little bit. I was a little bit upset, but I wasn't like, oh, I'm done with the show. I'm just excited, you know what I mean? I'm excited to see what he has to bring to help Jen's character grow and all that stuff, and what connections that will these characters have, and what will this lead into in other projects that they'll have this connection and stuff of friendship, or maybe them ending up dating like they do in the comics. I'm just excited for that, and just excited to see Daredevil again. Us seeing Matt Murdock in the Daredevil costume, but also us seeing Matt Murdock and getting to say more things, and us getting to see Charlie Cox, and see we'll get a feel for how his Matt Murdock and how his Daredevil is going to be in this universe of the MCU. So I'm just excited for all these things. But now that it's like, I was disappointed by those clips of that past episode of last week's, and disappointed for this week's clip for this episode, they have shockingly surprised me and thinking, oh my God, me, I understand that, I was like clouding my, it was just like me watching these clips. It was me just disappointed that Daredevil wasn't going to be here, and they weren't Daredevil clips saying that Daredevil was going to be in those episodes. When I stepped back, I was like, you know what? I loved these episodes. These were actually really good episodes. And it was just my disappointment that made me upset that he wasn't in those clips of those episodes. I thought those episodes were going to be bad. But it turns out they're just good. They're good. And I can't let my disappointment of Daredevil not being in those clips justify how I'm going to feel watching the episode that he's not going to be in. It's like I just need to wait for that episode. We need to wait. At the end of the day, it's not Daredevil's show. It's Jen's show. It's She-Hulk's show. So we just got to, wait for that episode. Again, these writers knew initially that, to have Daredevil in the show will help Jen's character grow and will set Jen's character for where she needs to go. So it's like, as much as we want Daredevil after that episode where we saw his helmet and said pick up, it wasn't right for him to come in yet at that time. He'll come in when he needs to come in, and we need to remember that. But yeah, guys, again, here, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, put in notifications, like this video. I'd love to have you guys here, a part of the fam, a part of the channel, all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. And yet again, guys, share this video with the cast and crew of, She-Hulk. Share this to Marvel Studios. Let them know that I love this show, and let them know I'm a big supporter of this show, because that's what they need to see, is that people are supporting this show, people are loving this show, because there's people that keep review bombing the show just because people hate women. And I think that's people like that are weird. But, we need to show people that, we support the show, and the show is really good. And the writing is good. We need to give them some love instead of all those people that are just, putting hate into the limelight. We need to put love into the limelight. So we need to, so please share this video with Marvel and, again, with everybody involved with She-Hulk. And again, so let them know that we support the show and we love the show. And we can't wait to see where things go with the show. But yeah, guys, yet again, we are almost to 600 subscribers. Yet again, please subscribe to the channel, put in notifications, like this video. I've been trying to get to 600 subscribers for quite some time now. We're getting there, but I'm really trying to get there. Hopefully before the end of October. I would love if we get to 600 subscribers. Because at the end of the day, I'm trying to make this one of the biggest channels on YouTube, and to show people that you can follow your dreams. Anything is possible. That is the message here, is to spread love, positivity, and motivation, and let people know that you can follow your dreams regardless of what anybody else says. So I just want to spread that love. So again, share this video to your friends that might like She-Hulk. And I cover a lot of things here on this channel, so go check out the channel. You might find something that you like here. I have a lot to offer here. But also, yeah, yet again, guys, my pre-show live stream for She-Hulk will be up next Wednesday. at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully my brother will be back on that stream, and we'll be talking about She-Hulk again. The reason that we weren't talking about this episode of She-Hulk is because we had the news breaking that Hugh Jackman was coming back as Wolverine in the Deadpool 3 movie. And I wanted to talk about theories for that movie, so that's why we kind of didn't do a live stream. On top of that, I wasn't kind of excited for this episode because I saw the clip and I was kind of disappointed, but it turns out I really did like this episode, and I liked the previous one, so I just need to understand that, and everybody else does, is that patience is key. We just need to wait. At the end of the day, it's not the Daredevil show. But yet again, guys, that was the video. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.